title of my presentation is the principles of meaning making in the relationship between the human being and the world. And I came from Russia, and part of my life right now is split between Russia and Northern California. And my English may be not perfect, so if you have any questions, please raise your hand and quickly ask, that I can make it more clear. So this is Clouds of Words is in order to explain you what my background is. So I came a little bit from different, probably, background than majority at this conference. I came from transpersonal psychology, from human potential movement, from altered states of consciousness, psychedelic, and so on. I'm doing breathing for more than 20 years. I'm doing this type of work. So this is my style of life, and I am creating several places in the earth where we practice in this type of living, in Russia and in California at least. And I want to speak with you about meaning now. First of all, I want to make a distinction, which is, for me, it's really important, that there is a phenomena and there is a description. Even there is not really good word, but let's imagine that it's like that. So, and it's better not, when I'm talking with you about meaning, I'm trying to speak about phenomena. And of course I will use some description, but ideally I speak about phenomena. And I think it's important to distinguish these things. Now I will go to kind of whole picture. So let's put in this circle all the world. So everything which exists will be in this circle, and I put it the world. And me as a human being, not personally me, but any human being, is at some point of his life found himself inside the world, like a sparkle or something, sparkle of God or anything. And then what's happened then usually happened that this human being is trying to understand what is the world about, what is it the world. And the process of cognition is happening usually in I'm not sure about good words, but philokinese and ontokinese in Russian. So as an individual human being and as a humanity, we do almost the same stages, try to understand what is world. And simply in classical way of cognition, we can put it such a way. I am a subject, I am trying to understand what exists in reality, which usually in the beginning I perceive as objective reality. After some exploration, it's more or less clear, and now what humanity has come to, that there is a three major aspect which can be used for the whole description of the world. This is a matter, energy, and information. And almost all phenomena in the world, outside world, could be described through these three aspects. Is it more or less clear? Do you agree with that? Unless we come to the point when human being try to explore himself. So maybe not everyone comes to this point. Some people can stay still in a point when they study outer reality. But some people come to the point that when they try to reflect and understand who am I. And when it's happened, sometimes they understand that these previous positions like matter, energy, and information, it's not enough. For example, such phenomena like beauty. In Russia, we have a proverb which is, beauty is inside eyes of someone who sees. So it's beauty, it's not outside, it's beauty is inside. or, for example, love or conscience. It's some quite of complicated things which is not fully could be reductionism, reduct to the matter energy of information. So ideally, if we want to describe human being as whole, we need more than 3 aspects. And what we done in our center of study, we decided it should be more 3 parts, like 3 from the bottom as above, so below, like information, energy, and matter, and 3 in above. And in case of human being, it will be these 7 stages of development, or 7 aspects of human being as whole. And the bottom is the same, like matter, energy, and information, which inside human being will be body. Everyone with us have a body, emotions, and mind. So it's more or less correspond the 3 these things. Then the central point, which is a core of, like, this is the I, or me, or real sub, which makes me. And we also can point that this is a love. Sometimes it's acceptance. And 3 more, which kind of reflection of these 3 bottom, would be the creativity, awareness, and freedom. So finally, we had a 7 position, 7 aspects for the human being, and in order to really realize the human beingness, to become a real human, according to our point of view, it's necessarily to develop all of them. So if you just have a body or just have emotion, you are not really full human being. So let's try to find where is the meaning here. So from our position, meaning it's in Russian language. I will come a little bit backward. There is 2 words, and as I understand in some other languages, it's also the same, which translated to English as a meaning. In Russian language is a смысл and is значение. And значение is something which is we get used to conventional reality, like what the cheer is, what's the meaning of the cheer. What we can see in dictionary, like cheer is the something. And but when we really speak about meaning, we speak about something which is not that meaning type of meaning. So I feel kind of lack of words in English because I don't know which is better to use. So thinking about real meaning, I understand that meaning is something which has some important for me in my subjective world here and now. So it's not objective, which could be put in dictionary. The idea and fullness of meaning that it's really for me, really here and really now. And it means that it's in a kind of using the quantum superposition. So it's like integration of several things. So it should be some fact, some physical reality represented to me, like, rainbow or some vision or something else, some emotion which I get from that, some reflection of what I told already, conventional meaning. So to understand what a lot of other people understand by that. But it's not necessarily my meaning, but at least I need to know that. Plus, kind of existential experience, which really make me to shift from ordinary perception to specially mine and understanding. So everything all together will give me really my meaning of that thing in my life. Do you understand that? So I'm trying to For example, it could not be, while I will giving you examples, some part of meaning will be lost because I'm still giving you the words. But for example, my grandparents has been killed in Leningrad siege, and my parents was very attentive to the food, so they could not throw out any food. And for me, is a bread, like black bread, which many people even not eat here, has a special value because from that, so it's my personal meaning, which has all these parts inside. And coming further, I also want to have a quick look to different type of scientific rationality. So we have a Russian philosopher, Vyacheslav Stepin. He created several ideas that classical science is just only basic variant of science, but not only one. So he, as a positive psychology scientist, and mainly try to base on a classical science. But this is a short introduction to these approaches. So here, what I already mentioned, classical science based on the way I separated with the object, subject and object totally separated. So we can produce knowledge after that about this subject. The next variant of scientific knowledge is non-classical approach, when we already understood that result of our investigation is dependent on us, so on a subject. So we understand this circle, and we understand that this scientific truth is not absolutely independent. And it also can be dependent on a context. So how I put in some sequence my ideas, it also, I will come to different conclusions. And what we discovered is several next stages of scientific knowledge, which is post-non-classical approach. When you point yourself on a subject, yeah, it's just like that, position, and you try to understand the object outside of you, but you understand that you are a researcher and that the way you see the object, it's important. But still you can't go to the meaning in this case because you are kind of researching the object. So in this style of research, you still can be proved that this object exists independently from you. But finally, from our ideas, there is next stage of research when we call it post-non-classical science, when I could, through this object, see myself. And this is, I can lead me to the real meaning of what is really happening. So when I complete the circle of cognition or understanding. So this is the ideal way of research, of living and developing meanings. Probably that's all, something about me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.